Hey friends and fans, welcome back to the channel. It's Instant Movie Reviews with
Raina and Drew. I'm Drew.
I'm Raina, and today we are doing a sponsored video thanks to Elevation Production Studios. They are distributors for many films in Canada. And what are they sending us to today?
They have given us free preview tickets for the new thriller Sharp Corner.
It's based on a short story, which I chose not to spoil for myself.
And I haven't read it either, so we're going in blind.
Do you remember who the cast are?
So it's Ben Foster. People probably know him as Angel from the X-Men movies. And Colbie Smulders, who is Maria Hill in the MCU and from How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah. So a lot of like MCU alumni here. And I feel like Maria Hill also had the Shields TV show, so she had her fingers in all the MCU pie there. But it's a thriller, and we also get to meet someone special for this. We are meeting the director, and there's a Q&A, so I'm dressed up a little bit. Even though my YouTube channel, my personal one, is a mermaid one, I still try to promote our channel and the things that we're doing on my mermaid social media because it's very full of fans. We actually had Simu Liu look at our Last Breath video, even though it only has like under 100.
Yeah, it had 101 the last I checked.
101 views, but one of them was the actor, and it was because I tagged him from my higher fan base account. So I'm milking the mermaid a bit today.
You may have noticed we're not in my car for once. We are on the rooftop of the parking garage at the mall that we're seeing this at. Hopefully there's not too much background noise. We wanted to go somewhere a little bit more private so people didn't stare at us while we filmed this.
So it's going to be really fun. We're looking forward to it. The main impression I'm getting from the film is just that it's going to be a really interesting take. We're shaking things up. We're mixing things up a bit. We're outside today because we are on our way to this premiere, which is really cool, early premiere. And I'm excited for it. The trailer, it's been super kind of low-key. Not a lot of people know about this film yet, and it's not getting a widespread American release for a little bit, we think. Like, it seems like it's being shown in Canada first, and then...
Yeah, it might be getting a limited release this Friday, but Box Office Mojo was quite unclear about this one, and it could be a staggered release, I'm not sure. But this is like, not like the Thursday preview screenings we go to. This is invite only, so we both feel kind of special and a little bit snooty.
Just a little bit, and that's why we wanted to actually film on site as we go to this. So my impression from watching the trailer is it's this guy, they move into the dream house with his wife, and he's got a family, and he's kind of living the all-American kind of guy's dream, but for whatever reason, this corner in front of their house keeps attracting car accidents. And he kind of develops a bit of a hero complex, which leads into a bit of narcissism, and he becomes obsessed with this sharp corner. And I like this idea because it reminds me a bit of a few other movies and movie tropes where the person being obsessed is actually female. So I like the idea that this is going to be a guy's take on it, because I'm thinking of similar films like, was it The Woman on the Train?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking The Woman on the Train and stuff like that. But then I also do wonder if it's reminiscent of other films like Rear Window or something. So I'm curious. What do you think, Drew?
To be honest, I haven't even watched the trailer for this one. We got the invite last week. I had never even heard of this movie until we got the invite, but I like Ben Foster. I love Colbie Smulders. I'm still mad that she's not part of the Marvel stuff anymore.
Unceremoniously.
Unceremoniously, yeah. So I literally know the extent of what Rainer has said about this film, so I have no expectations, and I'm just happy to be here.
So yeah, we're just gonna go through the mall, down into this movie theater that we don't usually attend, so this is kind of cool just to be at the mall and see how malls have totally died. But we want to see the movie theater stay alive, so we're encouraging you to watch reviews and get out and put butts in seats and see the theater so that we can keep this industry going and keep getting more movies, right? So anyway, let's head down to Sharp Corner.
And we'll see you in my car in a few minutes.
I'm gonna take a Sharp Corner now. Whoa. That was a time.
Yes.
That was a time. Oh, this movie hit me completely unexpectedly. Was like not expecting any of that.
Yeah, I had no expectations. Again, I didn't watch the trailer before we went in. I had a vague idea of what it was about. Yeah, that was an unsettling watch.
So I think we need to set this up a little bit. Drew and I were invited to this pre-screening. The movie hasn't come out yet. They're doing their big press tour. They just did one in Toronto, and then they're doing one here, and some of the actors from the film were there, and some of the like background people were at ours, and stunt people and stuff like that. We did not realize going into this that the movie was filmed where we live, and that we knew people involved in it. So we went into this completely blind, not knowing that, and did not know that the director was originally from here, and that much of the location and parts of the story were very much inspired by where we are. And I'm just being a little bit vague about it, for internet safety and all that, but there were scenes in the film of places Drew and I visit all the time. There was a little train that the kid was riding on, and my son have ridden on that exact train. And it's not like this big thing that people ride on all the time. It just gets trotted out once in a while.
I've seen our town in TV and movie projects before. Like there was a horror movie, like maybe 5, even maybe 10 years ago, that was filmed like in our city, but they make it up to look like wherever the fictional place
it's often
takes place
Maine.
is.
They often make it be Maine.
Yeah,
like it's they pretend we're Maine.
Yeah, but this movie actually took place here as well as was shot here, so it was sort of neat to see that local connection.
Yeah, and they didn't try to hide it. It was very, I saw like the tartan for our province in the distance, and just like a lot of local locations and the people and the background people's accents, even like that stuff usually gets scrubbed, and it's made to look. From is a TV series, a horror TV series that's filmed here, and you would never know because they've built the entire set like off in the woods, and they've made a fake town, so you would never know it was here.
Haven was shot here as well, but yeah, it was neat. But yeah, it was quite the experience to be in this private showing, and like so many people seem to know each other walking in and like greeting each other from across the theater. And Rain and I sort of looked at each other and we're like, with our 33 subscribers and brand new YouTube channel, how are we here?
I had major imposter syndrome. I was like, Drew, how do these people all know each other? Like, they have names on their chairs. How do they know each other? And I did piece together that, like, it was local cast, but it took me until the movie started to clue in, like, oh, okay, this actually is, like, a locally made production.
Yeah, we were like, we're pretty sure the person on screen is, like, 3 rows down in front of us.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool. At the very end of it, I actually grabbed Drew and screamed because there was an extra who had speaking roles, and he was the director/producer of a documentary about me. And I spent 2 years with this man following me around the camera, filming documentary. And he's also filmed me for commercials and been involved in short films where I did stunt consultation for my mermaid underwater work and stuff. And he's always kind of connecting me. And he didn't connect me for this, but it just was a happy coincidence. And as soon as the movie ended, I had to like voice and video call him and be like, Kevin, you were in this. That was nuts. But let's try to give, before we get too far into the weeds with this is just our genuine reaction, right? We're going to bring it out here. Can you give a spoiler-free, a little more in-depth of an overview of what the plot of this film is, now that we know?
Yeah, so Ben Foster plays this, like, sad sack, almost like, what if Ned Flanders was insane kind of character?
He's very depressed. He's very middle-aged, starting to bald, and just kind of checked out in life with no motivation for anything, going through the motions.
Not having a lot of success at work, being passed over for promotions. They buy this beautiful house out in rural our place and moves his family in, and there's this really sharp curve in the road right in front of their house. And more than one vehicular accident takes place there. And at first, Ben's character, Josh, seems to be quite troubled by what he's seen. And
I will say, the beginning of the movie, I was annoyed that nobody was taking him seriously. And this is part of the setup for the whole film, is that you realize that this man's obsession is an obsession. It's unhealthy. But in the beginning, you're very sympathetic and empathetic to him because it's like, dang, this guy just witnessed this horrific accident and nobody seems to want to let him talk about it.
But yeah, he becomes obsessed with this, and he starts like obsessively watching the curve and becomes really fixated on it. And it starts becoming like to the detriment of his job, to his relationship with his son, his relationship with his wife, played by Colbie Smulders. And it just sort of spirals from there. And it's like, what happens if you allow a hyperfixation or an obsession to take over your life to the degree that it what you had, you kind of lose that. So it was quite the like psychological character study of this really creepy, cringy, middle-aged schlub. I was saying to Raina that I don't remember being as creeped out, like skin-crawling, uncomfortable reaction to a character and a performance like this since Jake Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler.
Yeah, it very much reminded me of that. And I don't think that he took inspiration from it. I think it just happened to be that Ben was such a good actor. And afterwards, the director gave a Q&A, and he did say, like, Ben really did like his own interpretation and put his all into the character. There was stuff that they had to leave on the cutting room floor because he took it a little too far in some stuff. But I always find you get the best results when actors kind of lose themselves in the role.
Yeah, and I could not recognize Ben Foster in this. Like, I always have thought that Ben Foster is like a charming, attractive, fit, and his performance as Josh, he disappears into the role, and like the way that he speaks and the way that he moves, he has like, he's sort of like a little...
He's the creep.
He's a little effeminate in the way that he holds himself and the way that he moves, and he just vanished into this role.
But it's an evolution. Like, when he starts off, he's just very pathetic. And then he's getting confidence. And his wife calls him on it very early in the film that he's getting this... weird, he's like a vulture about things. And I think it shows you a lot of those highlights in the trailer, but I was not prepared when I went into the movie, like how deep it was going to go. I kind of thought, like, I was worried going into it that it would be maybe too much of a gimmick, and I was leaning over to Drew through parts of the movie, like predicting what would happen, but then it wouldn't happen like I predicted, and it went in a different direction than I thought, and I was pleasantly surprised. And it was just... it was very unsettling. It was a very unsettling movie. I don't even know if I could watch it twice, because maybe like in 6 months or a year I could watch it again. But
and it doesn't provide a lot of answers. The director said that it was intentionally ambiguous, but like it ends on a real note that it's open to interpretation.
Yeah.
Is this a happy ending? Is this a sad ending? Is this going to lead to something good? Is this going to lead to something terrible? It was a very interesting ending that obviously we're not going to spoil here. So, Raina, in terms of the rollout of this film, what impression did you get about what the release of this film is going to be like?
Well, they're going to release it on Friday, and we did overhear the producers and the director talking about doing a bit more media over the next few days locally, and then it seems like it is going to roll out into the States, but I didn't catch exactly how that's going to happen. But it's happening here first, which makes sense to me because it is homegrown. My fear, Drew and I saw a really good film last year called The King Tide, which was filmed locally, and it had some great all-star cast in it. And it did not even get a theater release in the States? Or was it limited?
I heard that they were planning on it, but I certainly never heard of it. And like I looked on the Box Office Mojo breakdown of like most profitable movies, and I didn't even see it on the list.
And it was a brilliant film that really showcased also the area where it was filmed. So I was really hoping, like, gosh, I hope this gets seen. But I talked to my American friends and no one's even heard of it.
Yeah, I think this will be different though, because I did see on Deadline, which is a major like movie news like industry information website, that it had been picked up for a limited American release by Vertical, I think was the company, and Elevation Pictures is handling the Canadian release. It's definitely going to get a wider Canadian release because it is a very Canadian film.
And they're partnered with Crave, so it will go on to Crave streaming. So I don't know if they gave it funding or what, but there was a credit to Crave. So I really want you to see it in theaters because it's worth seeing in theaters. But if you can't find it where you are to see it, then definitely it's going to be on Crave, which does make me wonder if it may end up on HBO at some point, because some of the Canadian content that is made for Crave does end up on HBO Max at some point. So
well, it's vice versa. HBO stuff ends up on Crave for us as well.
Yeah. Well, like Crave is how we get HBO, but I have seen Canadian made content that was made for Crave end up over there, like Hot Dog TikToks and stuff. So
Yeah, but I'm like, they really do seem intent on promoting it. We got these little rear view, sharp corner ahead.
So I have to tell you the funny story behind this. Unrelated to any of this, Drew and I have been working on a logo idea, and I said to him, down the road, we should get our logo turned into an air freshener or even like a little figurine. And then we can have it in our videos, and it's like merch that people could buy. And then the next movie we come to gives us an air freshener for the car. And we were joking with the PR people for the film, just being like, he just made this for us, did you? Like, it was so wild. But this is really an interesting experience for Drew and I, not just the movie, but the bonus of getting to hear from the director himself and answer some of our questions and see the passion that went into the film. And then for Drew and I, just kind of hobnobbing with like industry people. I've had brushes with the industry because of my mermaid work, but it's always been in that very niche capacity. So, you know, stunt folks and short films and music videos, and we consulted for a film, but none of us were on the film, and it won an Oscar. So that was pretty cool. But like not getting to directly be around these people very often. So this was really cool. And just listening to their conversations about making the movie and like their nostalgia over certain things.
Yeah,
and
I was intimidated as hell. Like, this is not the world that I normally exist in. So I was just like,
and they told us like at the end, like, come up and get pictures with us. And like nobody was doing it. And I was like, okay, but I really want to get a picture for our video. And I'm trying to awkwardly interject myself between like the director and his daughter to like see if I could get a picture.
We did.
We did get a picture. Ta-da!
So, we didn't talk about Colbie Smulders very much. Do you want to mention what you thought of her?
The director did say that he really hoped she would take the role, but he was worried it was a bit of a swing and that she might not do it.
She is an MCU actress, after all.
Yeah. And they needed their second to be someone who was either Canadian or Irish. I think the funding for the film dictated that. And they were really thrilled that she took it on. And I thought she was a badass mom. And I do want to give a shout out. I felt that a lot of research went into her as a mother, but also the son. There was a lot of stuff about the son that to me showed me that whoever wrote him or fleshed him out or whatever did the research on child development, because he acted a lot like my child, and there were so many behaviors that I was joking with Drew, but then that made the relationship between the son and the mom really good. And because it was so natural, I think it was very easy for the child actor because it wasn't really like acting. And then also just how they dealt with the child and his reaction to everything. I felt like it was polar ends of the same spectrum though with his dad. So like where his dad, his sense of control is coming from these accidents and his involvement in them, the son has certain behaviors that are his sense of control over a world that he's not coping with. And to me, I just felt that was really smart. I meant to actually ask the director about it. Maybe I was reading too into it, but just as somebody, I have a background in child development. I've never said that in this channel before, but I've worked a lot with kids, studied a lot, and then now have my own. And I just felt the kid and the kid's relationship came off very authentic. And because of that, it made you really buy into how high the stakes were and just how much this man was putting his family at risk and how his own self-serving aspects were overriding that. So, and Drew, you actually asked the director a good question, and I think you should share a version of it here that's not going to spoil everything, but
the obsession itself, I read a sort of quasi or maybe not quasi sexual element to it. Again, he's a middle-aged schlub. His wife is kind of physically withdrawing from him. He's not doing well with his job, and he's not the physically strongest person. He's not the most masculine person. And there was something about the way he went about this fixation that came across as very kind of almost fetish,
like paraphilia. Yeah. And it made me think of that James Spader film.
Yeah.
That had this couple who were obsessed with crashes.
Yeah.
And the director was kind of like, it's open to interpretation. Like, we didn't directly try to imply that, but certainly Ben, the actor, pushed it a bit. And I'm with Drew. Like, I picked up on that right away. I was cringing. Then again, if you watch Nightcrawler, you could almost say the same thing about Jake Gyllenhaal's character. Like, there was a craziness behind both characters' eyes.
Yeah.
You know, like, just this there was something driving them. And you never really get 100% answer on what it was, but that's intentional so that it's a bit more your interpretation. So if you see it, we would love to hear your take on it. We would love to hear, like, literally your take on his character. It was a really good character study.
Yeah. So you may not have heard of this movie before, and hopefully you watch this video and get a sense of it. It really deserves, a chance. It was quite an interesting, psychologically compelling watch, and it's gonna need, the push that it needs, because it's not going to get the marketing that like Sinners or Minecraft got. So if you are intrigued by this, we do encourage you to consider giving it a shot. In terms of rating it out of 10, where would you rank it?
So we gave Sinners our first 10, and I don't really feel, as good as this was, that I can put it up that high. I don't have any notes. I can't really say that there's anything on it that I want to improve, and it was very impactful. It's just, we've seen a few films now. I think Sinners is going to be up for an Oscar, so I would put it around an 8 for me. I'm not sure if like general audiences would put it that way, but in terms of Drew and I and our appreciation for this genre in itself, and also our appreciation for well-crafted films. It is very well crafted, very well crafted. So for me, it's around an 8. Yeah. What about you?
It's an 8 for me as well. Here we are agreeing again. But it's a very grounded film. It's not flashy. It's not like a crazy actioner. If you're going in hoping for like a whole bunch of crazy car crash action, that you'll get some of that, but that's
not good. It's well done. It's very believable, which is the scary thing. One of the people in the audience asked, like, how did you do that? And they had stunt drivers, and it was a mix of practical and VFX. So I give it an 8 just because I thought it was a really, really good character study. Ben Foster's performance was really creepy, really compelling. And I found myself engrossed in it all the way through to the end. Even though it's not a flashy film, it held my attention. Yeah, it really held mine too. I had to take a bathroom break, which was really frustrating for me, trying to find a bit of time where I didn't think I would miss anything too important, because everything, it was just jam-packed. Everything was important. And then Drew and I always do this thing where we have to like catch each other up and try not to disturb anybody else. But unfortunately, I deal with several chronic illnesses, so it's hard for me to get through a movie without one bathroom break. So yeah, if you're looking for a bathroom break in this movie, I would try to avoid that. Go to the bathroom beforehand.
Yeah.
Oh, but it was really enjoyable. And what do we have coming up next?
So we have Clown in a Cornfield, I'd like to see soon. Final Destination's Bloodlines. Lilo and Stitch, the early tracking, I think that it's going to be possibly the biggest smash of the summer.
The latest teaser for it made me cry.
And yeah, there's still stuff trickling out. We'll keep an eye on the release dates, and take a chance on something like this that deserves to have eyeballs on it.
Yeah, and we just want to give another thanks again to Elevation Pictures. I keep accidentally saying Elevation Studios and Elevation Movies and Elevation Production Company. It's ADHD. It's Elevation Pictures, and we really appreciate you giving the tickets for this. They just gave us tickets. Nobody's paying us to say that this was a good movie or anything like that. Sorry, they gave us tickets and they gave us air fresheners.
Yes.
So we have officially made it big time in YouTube with our 33 subscribers and our free movie tickets and our free air fresheners.
Our freshener merch.
But I did say to Drew that the goal with this channel in the beginning is really just to pay for some of our movies. Like, give us free movies, because we see movies every single week, and we are the biggest cheerleaders of going to the movie. Yeah.
So give Sharp Corner a chance if it plays near you and you're intrigued by this. And if you do end up seeing it, let us know what you thought. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us?
I really want you to see it, especially our local folks who follow us. If you're local to us, and a lot of people are, you need to see it, because you will scream at all the things you recognize. It'll be great. Okay, so that's us. We'll see you again next week at the movies.
See you soon.
Hey, fish fans! They're not fish fans. Shit! Bloop. And I'm gonna pause because there's someone walking by.
Crawler, which was just crazy.
I'm sorry, say that again. This a-hole was just beeping, and we're gonna have a lot of outtakes for this video. Like, why was he just like non-stop beeping? Oh my god, the director's walking by our car.
We told him we were going to film a review, so I guess
he's literally walking. There he is.
We've got quite the blooper set for this video.
They realize we're filming. So somebody sees them. There they are behind us. This is the director of the movie walking behind our car.
Mm-hmm.
Did they park next to us? They parked over there. What the heck is happening? What is this real life?
All right, let's try to get back to the point I was making. What point was I making?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, so yeah, love
I'm
it.
gonna wait for this lady to drive away. I think she might have been in film.
We're just running into everyone from the screening in our parking garage, which makes sense because it does lead down to the theater. But did they have to park immediately next to my car while we're trying to do this? We were trying to be inconspicuous in our intro video up on the roof, and there was one guy who came out, and I was embarrassed, and now we're just surrounded by the entire screening.
I was like, I'm so sorry. We're not trying to be obnoxious. Like, we aren't obnoxious, maybe a little obnoxious. Like,
and then we thought he was going to run us over.
Drew and I try really hard to be inconspicuous and to not like invade anyone's space. Nobody wants to be the obnoxious YouTuber, and you know, it still happens. Okay, bye, person.
Oh, this video has
the people
been a
at
calamity.
Elevation are going to see this review and be like, oh dear, what have we gotten
Why did
ourselves
we invite
into?
these people?
Why did we invite them?
Never invite them again.
Okay, so that'll all go in outtakes.
Okay, so she's leaving.
You were talking about